In a perfect world, the gaming industry would simply be a vehicle, merely a conveyance through which the world's most talented and visionary designers could share their most creative ideas. And in this perfect world, video games would still surprise us. They'd still have the guts to be different. Unfortunately, this utopia is a farce. It's all about business, and because of that, games like this rarely survive the journey from drawing board to store shelves. This is Okami for the Nintendo Wii, an incredible release which managed to deliver on those utopian ideals of unique and beautiful games, but ultimately also fell victim to the financial gears upon which its industry turns. Okami was originally released for the PlayStation 2 in 2006, and the game immediately became a critical success. It won awards for design, it was widely considered a Game of the Year candidate. Okami earned praise from virtually everyone who played it. But there was a problem. No one played it. Maybe it was the game's strong Japanese flavor. Maybe it was the vague title. Perhaps it was just overshadowed by the immense hype for the Wii and PlayStation 3, which would launch just a few weeks later. For whatever reason, very few people bought Okami on the PlayStation 2, and just a few weeks after their fantastic game released to nearly universal critical acclaim, developer Clover Studio was forced to shut its doors for good. Fortunately, remnants of Clover talent have since rejoined to form the equally daring studio Platinum Games. You know them from stuff like Mad World and Bayonetta, but they've never had a moment of brilliance quite as bright as Okami, a game I often describe as the best Zelda game Nintendo has never made. Whether it's the controls, the combat, the layout of the game world, almost everything about Okami screams Zelda. More specifically, it screams Twilight Princess, but where Nintendo's Wii port lacked a bit of the intangible character and soul of past Zelda games, Capcom's Wii port absolutely nails them. What's more, Okami also deviates from the Zelda template by adding a distinct Eastern flair, not to mention some of the most incredible graphics we've ever seen. Indeed, both games are about as good as it gets, but in terms of personality, well, Okami often feels like the game Twilight Princess wanted to be. Okami tells the epic story of a sun goddess who takes the form of an ancient wolf in order to expel a dark and powerful evil from the land. Now, while Okami's premise may seem like a conventional gaming plotline, the tale really comes to life thanks to a rich cast of interesting characters. In fact, with the exception of perhaps Majora's Mask, Okami tells a much more thoughtful and engaging story than Zelda ever has. Of course, Zelda serves as such a common point of reference for Okami for a reason. This game is an obvious tip of the cap to Nintendo's legendary series, and in no aspect is that more evident than gameplay. In fact, if you've played any Zelda game since Ocarina of Time, you'll immediately be comfortable running through Okami's enormous world, talking to villagers, battling monsters, and navigating dungeons. And that's the brilliance of Okami. It takes a familiar concept, the epic action-adventure game, and makes so many changes and refinements that it somehow feels inventive and new. And a big part of that is the art direction, which is incredible and gives the game a feeling that it's taking place on a scroll of parchment, that it's almost like an interactive painting. Everything on the screen is so vibrant and bright, it really gives you the feeling you're looking at a beautiful oriental watercolor instead of playing a video game. What's even more impressive is that Okami takes that vibe even further by marrying the gameplay with the visual concept. As you engage in battle and travel through the world, you'll be able to summon the power of the Celestial Brush. You can literally paint on the screen and make things happen in the game world. A quick vertical swipe can slice through objects, for example. Drawing a circle can awaken the power of the sun. You can unlock several new brush techniques as you play, and they make for a seamless marriage of concept and gameplay. Now, if you're interested in seeing what the fuss is about, you should know there are a few differences between the 2006 original and this 2008 Wii port. Using the Celestial brush with the Wii Remote's pointer is usually an improvement over the PlayStation 2's analog sticks, but there is some occasional unresponsiveness, so it's a bit of give and take. Also, the Wii version looks better thanks to 480p and 16:9 support, but it does lessen the beautiful paper filter of the original as well. So, all things considered, I would recommend the Wii version, but they both feature an epic 40-hour game that's easily one of the all-around best of the 2000s. And, you know, in a world that's often anything but fair, there's really something to be said for second chances, especially when they're deserved. This game deserved a second chance, and if you give it a chance, you'll be rewarded with a unique and truly unforgettable gaming experience in the modern classic, Okami.